Barbie, Barbie, Barbie. I'm a Barbie girl. Na 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 na. It's fantastic. Sorry. Like I was saying, we're gonna talk about Barbie today. Everything that's wrong with it, or maybe not so wrong with it. If you have around the same age as me, you're gonna guess or assume whatever it is, it's on you. But if you have that similar age, you've been in that generation of playing Barbie, right? I used to have a lot of Barbies, collecting them and playing them all day long while my parents were at work. I was very young and I was so obsessed. And having multiple Barbies, playing them being friends, playing them having boyfriends, a lot of cans like the cute one, and really having fun. All those kind of little stories when you're young. Having the crush, and it was interesting up until Chucky came out, the movie. Let's just say that all my Barbies were hidden even more. Because for some reason I had that interesting image about me having all those Barbies coming down onto my bed and really freaking me out. Thanks to Chucky for that. So what I can say is that after Chucky, I stopped playing with Barbie. Not the same way I used to play with them before. Barbie the movie was the first to come out, and a lot of people for some reason, or most likely, went about it with that in mind, the nostalgia about it. What I find interesting is that a lot of my friends talked about it. Even my own colleagues would go to restaurants, and those restaurants had a lot of menus and they have Barbie themed burger with a pink sauce, and a lot of people can take advantage of it. It was such a success. It surpassed Spider-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy, which to me it's really interesting and really surprising, right? All of that success, I was still into the fear of watching it because I was like, I'm really gonna be disappointed because there's a lot of movies nowadays that just get me disappointed every time, right? To come a bit with the context, it's that all the recent movies, they're just not interesting, and they're not interesting because they don't have good stories. It's all about swapping races, swapping people. We had the Little Mermaid, we have the Barbie, and we're talking about the upcoming Snow White, where we're gonna change entirely the whole context of Snow White with the dwarfs and with Snow White herself.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937 and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
And the actress being so proud of saying that it's not about Snow White being like a woman, it's about Snow White being the leader that she can be. And I'm like, what is this? If you want to ruin something, at least create and ruin that for yourself. Don't ruin the classic. And I think the reason why people go so much about classics, especially the big studios like Disney and Warner Bros, because at the end of the day, Barbie was produced by Warner Bros, which is surprising to me again because I assumed it was a Disney production because we came down to the same theme again and again and again. Patriarchy, female leadership, and all the issues and everything that is wrong with being a man, with being a woman, being just a human being, I feel. That's what I assumed, but it was not. Being African, coming from Cameroon, we had some classics, and I think we have the famous, I think it was the most popular anime of them all, Kirikou la sorcière. That's why we say in French,
Kirikou est petit, mais il réfléchit.
Kirikou est petit, mais il réfléchit.
It was a great classic. I think I'm gonna have the title somewhere here. Pretty much black, pretty much African, and just think about classics like that that could be swapped with something else, swapped with another type of race, another type of character. I'm not gonna be happy about it. It's the same way I'm not about swapping just characters for the sake of remaking them. Create your own stories, create new stories, being innovative, being creative. Barbie was exactly what I didn't want Barbie to be when I watched it, and it took me a long time before even watching it because it's been pretty recent that I watched Barbie. after the whole success and everybody talking about it, everybody having watched it. I think the way to go about classics is mostly because people would always go back to the nostalgia of just watching that. There's some attachment to it, right? There's some affection to it. So it's really easy for people to use it and then to introduce and add something else because they're remaking it. And that, I feel that's exactly what we did with Barbie and any other new movie coming from some classics. It's the same exact thing. When it's too entertaining, when it's really familiar, there's a lot of things we don't pay attention to because it was a satire, it was just meant to be funny. But it's funny when you do that once, twice, and then we move on, right? But when you see the same thing again and again in every single movie, you just start asking some questions and you kind of see everything that is much more into being a certain messaging, and it's always the same messaging again and again. And the danger lies into watching it and not being alert of what you actually watch. That made me think about just Disney back then, because doing some research, between 41 and 42 during World War II, Disney started doing movies with the US government to actually have a propaganda about the war and having people being much more pushed into supporting the war they were having back then, right? And that was Disney back then, because Disney didn't start with that. Disney started with fantasy, adventure. But because they went into bankruptcy, they started working with the US government to have more movies around the propaganda around the war and how people can support the war elsewhere. A lot of Americans, they have that into the mindset of just going to war in other countries for no reason whatsoever, but the only reason would be, are they there to make the peace? Or they are there to the duty actually to be in any other country and to decide what has to happen, which definitely I disagree on, right? But you can see through movies, through stories, through things that you're watching, how it can change people's mind and an entire the whole nation mindset about it. When Disney started to do the film and movies for propaganda, it was because they were losing money around movies that they were producing. Pinocchio, and I think there was another movie, but Pinocchio, they lost a lot of money over it, and the more they were losing money, the more they had to fire people. When the US government came around and proposed that to them, the deal to make movies for propaganda for the war, obviously it was a great deal because it was all about making money, making profit. And the way it came down to today was exactly that again, because we're getting into the context now that everything is about a messaging, a specific messaging, not anything else but specific one. We don't want people to be alert. We want people to stay into that illusion where everything is gonna be fine. People are gonna take care of things in the back seat. You watch things, laugh about it, be entertained by it, don't ask questions. And I think that's the thing with creativity. And when you get into the mindset of seeing without questioning, you're losing more of that creativity. When you're not getting alert, losing of that creativity. And it's all about having a mission, making a difference. But to have a mission and make a difference, you have to see where are the problems. And no matter if you agree or disagree with me, you have to question everything you see, because it's important. Watching Barbie, for me, made me realize even more so the agenda behind it. And every time that I watch movies like that, I feel more annoyed because I'm aware of the agenda, I'm aware of the messaging that they are trying to convey. There's a specific scene for me in the movie where they went into the human world, and he went at the gym, I think, and he saw men working out, exercising, and he was so inspired by them. And just watching the strength and how they were strong, he was inspired. But he took it, got back to the Barbie world, and became a macho. So there's a way to just understand it. Just strong men, they are the macho. It's a patriarchy. You can't be too strong because it's threatening, but at the same time, it's a protection here. It just impacted and affected me so much. I saw that and I was like, here we go again, right? So The point for me with the Barbie, the movie, was another way of saying that whatever you see, whatever you watch, whatever you listen to, always ask the questions about the intention of people doing those movies, doing those shows. You can't be watching things anymore just for the sake of watching it, because there's always gonna be a messaging, an agenda behind it. And my question is always why? You know, it's like, why are they showing that to me? You have to ask the question about that specific person doing something specific, not about an entire group of people, as in the man being the issue or the woman being the issue, because that's where you have the red pill and everything wrong with it, right? So you have to have a balance, you have to question, you have to be aware. So today I'm asking you the question, what did you think about it? What was the best part about it for you, and what was maybe the worst part about it for you? Again, here, you don't have to agree with me, right? You don't have to agree, but let me know what you thought about it, because honestly, to be honest, it was a waste of time. I'm not even gonna lie, it was a waste of time for me. So let me know down below what you thought about it. And I'm taking clients from January about just on being confident, and really we're talking here about like self-confidence, but more than that, how can you be confident in the light of being the child of God, or just being connected to God on that way, and being aware of things like that. When you're watching shows, when you're watching movies, if you want to create something for 2024, starting a business, starting something creative, impactful, where you want to have your own mission, make a difference, being aware of it, it starts with understanding who you are deep down in the light of God. And this is something that I offer here with just being coach, right? And it's pretty much about confidence, right? So if you have any questions, definitely get down below. You have all the details, you have all the information. And the second part is that I'm actually looking for people to interview when it comes regarding the creative journey, right? If you started a business and you're on struggle, and what is it to be online, right? How does it feel to be online here on social media and making a difference, and not necessarily agreeing with everything that you see or disagreeing with everything that you see, but just sharing your journey being online on social media. If you are interested, definitely get back to me. I have all my information down below. And like I say all the time, keep smiling, because it's free and contagious in a good way. Bye.